After you actually retire and you no longer have a regular paycheck, where should you pull funds from first for income? Does it make a difference? It makes a very big difference, and that is the subject of this video. Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Financial Fast Lane. My name is Lane Martinson. And so as you head into retirement, your regular paycheck goes away. And so where are you going to pull funds from first? How much, what order, which account is the best to pull from first, and so forth? It can become surprisingly complex. And so today we're going to talk about this. And what we're really talking about here is distribution planning. You may have a 401k, you may have an IRA, you may have a pension, you might have annuity income, you may have rental income, you might have some part-time income from a part-time job, or maybe you have some other business income that flows in, maybe royalties or something like that. So there's potentially a lot of different sources of income. And so what is the best and most efficient way to plan out that income distribution in retirement? So if you take a look at my screen here, when it comes to retirement planning, most of the time and most of the thought is based on getting to retirement, and not nearly as much thought is given to what's going to happen after we actually retire, right? So the goal, most people think of the goal as getting to the point where you hopefully have saved enough where you can actually retire. And so during your working years, we refer to this as the accumulation years. Are you saving enough, investing, and so forth? And that's where most retirement planning is focused, for sure. But when you get to retirement or close to it, on this mountain, you look down the other side and you realize there are many years that you're going to need income in retirement. And so where does that income come from? And these are the distribution years. And so this is what we call distribution planning. And getting this right can make a very big difference on the outcome and success of your retirement. So here's a quick question for you. Out of retirees that are surveyed, when they are asked what is their number one fear in retirement, it is running out of money. That is the number one fear of most retirees. This is a legitimate concern because running out of money prematurely is certainly possible depending on how well you plan your distribution years. And so everyone has in their finances what I call inefficiencies, where you lose money unknowingly and unnecessarily. And these inefficiencies can come in a whole variety of ways. Certainly taxes are a big part of that, market risk, sequence risk, order of sequence as far as distribution. They all make a really big difference as to the sustainability of a retirement plan. And we look at it and we look at these different strategies, and for example here, strategy one is really no strategies, showing someone where if they kind of do what they think they were planning to do, they could potentially run out of money in their mid-70s, with some improved planning, extending that out to their late 80s, and with even better planning, having a surplus at age 100. It really can make that big of a difference when you have an efficient distribution plan. And there really are a lot of pieces to the puzzle, and it's getting these puzzles fit together in the right way for you. Now, one of the key things to do is to establish any fixed income sources. So Social Security, making sure that you're maximizing your Social Security. If there's rental income, or if there's a pension, or if you have annuity income, we call that an income floor. So you know that you have this set amount that's guaranteed for life. And then you take that floor, and then based on what your income need is, the difference is the gap. And so how are we going to fill the gap? So we take distributions from an IRA, 401k, so forth. But how much do you take and in which order? If you have an investment account or brokerage account with non-qualified money, should you take money from that first, or should you take it from an IRA? All of these are really important questions, and it's going to be different depending on your situation. But let's talk about taxes for a minute. So to keep it simple, all of your taxes are going to fit in one of these three buckets. Your money is going to be either taxed annually, tax postponed, or tax advantaged. Okay? So when we say taxed annually, we're talking about a non-qualified account, a regular brokerage account, investment account. It could be earned income. It could be money coming in from a rental property. But it's any gains that are realized in the current year you're going to be taxed, right? Now, you can get into long-term capital gains and short-term capital gains, but we're just kind of keeping things simple here. You're basically taxed on any gains that you realize, right, each year. Now, the tax postponed bucket, this is going to be all of your retirement accounts, 401k, IRA. You may have a 403b or a TSP or a 457. These are what we call qualified retirement accounts. When you put the money in, you did not pay any tax, you got a tax deduction. And so the money is all pre-tax. It grows tax deferred. And when do you pay the tax? You're going to pay the tax in retirement when you take distributions. And those distributions are going to be called by the IRS, or treated rather, as ordinary income. And so that means what is the tax rate that you'll be paying on that? We know what the tax rates are today, but we don't necessarily know what they're going to be in the future. And we anticipate, for a number of reasons, the taxes are likely to be much higher in the future. And so all of these are very important things to consider. Now, we have a tax advantage bucket. This is going to be Roth IRAs, Roth 401ks. It could be accomplished through Roth conversions and some life insurance strategies. Those are really the only truly tax advantaged vehicles where you know that you're going to have tax-free growth forever. So obviously that's the ideal place to have most of our money, but most folks don't have much in the tax advantaged. And so what do we do in that situation? These are all really important retirement distribution planning questions. A really important concept to understand is that there is a mathematically ideal balance that you want to have in each of these buckets. And it's going to vary depending on your specific situation, depending upon your age, depending upon the amounts that you currently have. If most of your money for retirement is in the tax-deferred bucket, like most folks find themselves in that situation, then does it make sense to make Roth conversions? And anyway, so there's a lot of strategies going to that. I want to give you a little comparison here to show you the concept of the difference it can make when you have a good strategy on these tax buckets. Let's say that we're accumulating for 20 years, just as a concept here. We're going to contribute $10,000 per year for 20 years. We're going to assume a 7% rate of return in all years, and we're going to assume a tax rate of 25%. And then we want to have that money last us for 20 years. And so an after-tax distribution of $38,697, assuming, again, we're getting a 7% rate of return in all years. And initially here, I'm going to assume the tax rates are the same at 25%, okay, in all years. Now we're going to do a comparison with these three tax buckets, okay? So this is these little buckets here. We've got the taxed annually, we've got the tax postponed, and we have the tax advantaged. And we're going to see how they do in comparison of each other. Out of the three buckets, the least efficient place to grow your money long-term is in the taxed annual bucket, the non-qualified bucket. And you can see that the total net spendable, if we take $38,000 per year, that's only going to last 12 years in that case, with total net spendable of $466,000 over that whole time frame. Now, the tax postponed bucket, assuming tax rates are the same, is $773,000 total net spendable after tax. And the tax advantaged is the exact same. And the reason they're the exact same is because the tax rates were 25% in the beginning years, and in all distribution years, tax rates were the same. So which is better, to have money in pre-tax or after tax? And to answer the question, it has to do with tax rates. And so if tax rates are likely to be higher in the future, then the tax advantaged is going to come out ahead. Now let me show you this. So that was assuming tax rates stayed the same. But what if tax rates go up by just 10% in the future? Now how do they compare? Yeah, our taxed annual bucket is $447,000. Our tax postponed, which is our IRAs, 401ks, total net spendable is only $588,000 compared to the tax advantaged, which was not impacted by the 10% increase in tax. And so the total net spendable is $773,000. And just for fun, what if taxes were to go up 20% in the future? Now we're looking at $429,000 versus $449,000. So at that point, our tax postponed accounts are almost as bad as the tax annually. Not quite, but close. So tax planning is a big deal in distribution planning. But should you take money out of the non-qualified accounts first? A lot of times that's where people will start. But you have required distributions on the qualified accounts. So depending upon your age, you may want to get some money converted before the required distributions kick in. And you can, with good planning, create efficiencies. And when you're tax efficient and you're protected against sequence risk and some of the other factors, you have Medicare charges, you have potential Medicare surcharges, IRMA. All of those things are going to depend on your age and the timing of Roth conversions and different things that you may be doing. And so you just want to get this right. In my book, it's available on Amazon, The Holistic Retirement Planning Revolution, I talk in much more detail about this concept of distribution planning. I hope you found this video thought-provoking and beneficial, and that it can help you in moving forward towards a more optimized retirement distribution plan, taking into account Social Security and all the different streams of income to ensure that you can have peace of mind. A miserable person in retirement is a person with no income plan, but with a bunch of assets. Because if you just have a bunch of assets and you don't really know what your income plan is going to be month by month, that creates a lot of stress. And you're really worried about what the market's doing. But when you can have a regular paycheck or a series of paychecks that are hitting your account on a regular basis, and you have a really solid income floor, and you've got a good plan on distribution, spend down of assets, it can really give you peace of mind where you can just enjoy your retirement. I hope you found this beneficial, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode of the Financial Fast Lane.